So today is the 25th of December, Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you're having a great Christmas with you and yours. As you may or may not know, I started a batch of apple cider wine on the 19th. This is the culmination of that. You come in a little closer. Now, of course, the wine is not done in my opinion. There's still sugars left in it. It's still fermenting. As you can see, if you look up here at the bubbler and watch, you'll see it's moving slowly but surely. And that's a sign that it's still fermenting. Now, here is some wine. I just took it out of the freezer. And what we're looking at here is about 15 degrees. Can you see that? And it's still pretty much not frozen. It just started to freeze a little bit in the bottom, but it's still not frozen. You see? So I can figure it's 15 degrees. I can figure the freezing point's probably, I'm gonna guesstimate 3 degrees above that. So that'd put it about 18 degrees. So I'm figuring this is about 15 or 20% alcohol. If you hold on, I'll be right back. I'm country. I drink my wine out of a glass. We'll pour this in here. It's still a little cloudy. I didn't do a lot of fining like I should have, and of course it's going to be hard to tell with the ice in it. Maybe I can strain some off so that we don't get any ice in it. If you hold on just a second, let me consider how I can manage that. This might work. Let's see if we can pour it through the screen. Clean piece of screen I had laying around. Let's see if that works. No, ice is just plugging up the screen, so that won't work. We'll just leave it sit here. And if it's not thawed out by the end of the video, I will include a still shot of what it looks like. But I think you can tell, even with the ice in there, that the clarity of this is quite a bit better than that. And the way that I managed that was, first thing I did was because I had about 1.5 liters of the wine that I took out of my batch so that we could taste test some for Christmas. I had some Sorbistat K, which is potassium sorbate. I put about 1/8 teaspoon of this into this 1.5 liters, which then killed off the yeast. At that point, and I had racked it off of this so that I wasn't actually pulling any of the yeast out of the bottom of the big jug. After adding the Sorbistat K, I put it in this freezer here behind my cameraman and put it in the deep freeze and cooled it to about 20 degrees. And then took it out, put it in my fridge and let it warm up to about 40 degrees. Then stuck it back in the freezer and cooled it down to about 20 degrees. And I did that in about 3 or 4 cycles. And then I took it out and used my siphon, which is kind of actually inconvenient for this beaker, but it has this little cup on the bottom of it that helps keep it from pulling all the sediment off the bottom. And got as much of it out as I could with that. This siphon, by the way, is pretty neat. It's got a little pin in the bottom of it. So once you get the siphon started, it'll push that pin out and it won't leak, and you can use this to fill bottles. Drop my gelatin on the floor. Then after I done that, I mixed up a quarter of a teaspoon of this in half a cup of hot water, and then I poured that into my wine mixture and put it back in the freezer and let it set for several hours. Then I took it out and racked it off again, leaving all that sediment in the jug. Then I rinsed it out, put it back in this jug because that's what I wanted it in. All in all, I got about 2 days into what I've done to clarify this so far. And there's other finding agents I could have used. One of the things that I've seen online is you take eggshells and dry them in the oven, and then crush them up and put some in your wine. I think that what that is the egg whites dissolve off the insides of the shells, and they help to bind together the yeast and the other stuff and cause it to fall to the bottom. With the salmonella scare that we've had over the years, though, I didn't want to deal with that, so I did not use the eggshell. I thought about it, but I decided against it. Ultimately, this is going to be for me and my wife, so I'm going to buy some bottles. I'm going to clarify it about as much as I did here, and then I'm going to bottle it and leave it. I should probably also mention that it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to, maybe use a little more of the sorbistat than I did, to kill off the yeast. But, it's measured out. I think it's between 1/2 and 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin for 5 gallons of wine to clarify. And I want to say this is about, it says 1/2 to 3/4 gram per gallon. I think that comes out to about 1/2 teaspoon per gallon, something like that. I have a chart somewhere. Just so you know, this wine here, I pulled out at the same time as I pulled out these glasses. It's gone through the same cooling and heating and in the fridge and whatnot, and the same racking and everything as this one, although I didn't give it the last 2 racks that this one got, because I just saw that it wasn't getting anywhere, because this one I did not treat with the gelatin or the sorbistat. Now the sorbistat killed the yeast and caused it to fall out of suspension. You can actually see yeast in the bottom of the glass, this jar here, where it's settling to the bottom. And this one, it settled to the bottom. I used the gelatin to pull more of it out and solidify it, and then I racked it off. This one hasn't been treated. So while the cold from the freezer, because this one is actually even sitting here warming up, it's still 26 degrees. But in the freezer, the yeast deactivates, right? And eventually will fall out of suspension. But you have that fine balance between cooling it, super cooling it, and freezing it, right? So you don't want to actually freeze it. You can drink this way. There's nothing wrong with it. It tastes pretty good. I'll be able to tell you if this affected the sorbistat and the gelatin affected the flavoring at all, because I have something to compare it to. Oh, no, not at all. This is good. You can talk. What, honey?
Got 5 seconds left.
Before that.
You were taste testing.
So, sorry, camera cut out. So this tastes just as good as this. In fact, I'm gonna say this actually tastes a little better than this. But that being said, this tastes just as good as this. We have what I would call a perfectly good wine here. And if you'll bear with me for just 1 second. Where's your phone, honey? Do you have your phone? I'd like to use your light. Sorry, guys. I was not prepared. But anyway, if I can find your flashlight. Well, you know you got one on here somewhere. Oh, look at your phone. Yeah, goofy. There it is. So, plus, like I said, the chemicals did a lot as far as clarifying it. The gelatin mainly, and the cold racking. And I can get this better than this. There are other fining agents that I can use in this to really clarify this cloud. This is a fault wine, right? Is what they call it, I think. Where basically it's not good enough because it's cloudy for professionals. But you know, I'm not a professional. So, yeah. So I hope that you enjoyed my little foray into winemaking. And of course, when this is done, we'll be bottling it, and I'll try to get a video up of that. And if I do anything else in the meantime, you know, maybe I'll do a quick video, show you that. The only thing that I've done to this so far is when I racked this and I took this off of this jug, I also racked this jug, which means that I emptied all the juice out of it, or the wine, into a different container, and then I cleaned out the yeast and re-sterilized the container and put the wine back in. So, mainly just to clear the dead yeast out, you know, help to maybe clarify this a little bit as well. So anyway, hey, thanks for watching. If you liked my video, you want to see other things like this, give me a like and a subscribe. Have any comments for me? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear from you. Peace.